I still remember the night I brought home a bottom shelf bottle that tasted like literal paint thinner mixed with regret. It completely ruined the evening, and I swore off cheap bourbon for a year. The problem is, navigating the under $30 shelf is a minefield. You either find hidden gems or straight up drain pours. Today, I am saving your wallet and your taste buds. We are counting down the top 7 inexpensive bourbons that actually taste premium, and the number 1 spot is going to absolutely blow your mind. Let's get into it. 7. Redemption Straight Bourbon. I picked this up hoping the new packaging matched an elevated liquid inside, as their marketing leans heavily into restoring the classic pre-prohibition profile. On the shelf, it looks fantastic, and pouring it, you get a warm amber color. It definitely looks like a much more expensive pour. When you dive into the nose, there are nice hints of roasted corn, vanilla, and classic caramel sweetness. It smells inviting at first. But when I took my first sips to test it out, I immediately hit a wall. A sharp, youthful astringency hits the back of your palate almost instantly, completely masking those sweeter notes. The mouthfeel also leaves a lot to be desired. It is quite thin, lacking the oily viscosity that makes a bourbon feel truly rich. Instead of a satisfying Kentucky hug, the finish drops off abruptly, leaving behind a metallic, bitter oak note that just lingers a bit too long for comfort. If you are burying this in a heavily iced cocktail, it will do the job perfectly fine. But as a neat sipper, which is how I judge these bottles, that lingering harshness makes it tough to fully enjoy. It earns its spot for mixers, but lands firmly at the bottom of our list today. 6. Fistful of Bourbon. This is an interesting concept because it is a blend of 5 different straight American bourbons, aiming to create a perfectly balanced profile. I was excited to test this one out because marrying 5 distinct flavor profiles sounds like a recipe for a dynamic tasting experience. The initial aroma is quite pleasant. You get this soft, floral honey scent right up front, followed by baked apples and a light dusting of cinnamon. It smells approachable, and the first sip is definitely smooth, almost way too smooth. That is exactly where the big problem starts for me. In their effort to blend 5 different whiskeys into one harmonious batch, they seem to have completely muted the character of the bourbon. It lacks any real punch or distinct identity. There is no defining spice, no deep oak character, and frankly, no real depth. It feels watered down and overly engineered. While the lack of harshness makes it incredibly easy to shoot or mix, it completely fails to deliver a satisfying sipping experience. I want to taste the grain and the barrel. Fistful of Bourbon drinks like a generic spirit. It is entirely forgettable, keeping it relegated to number 6. 5. Cooper's Craft 100 Proof Barrel Reserve. This comes directly from Brown-Forman, the folks behind Old Forester, and you can absolutely taste that pedigree. What makes this bottle unique is their specialized chiseled and toasted barrel process, designed to expose the whiskey to more wood. Right out of the gate, the aroma is bold and commanding. I instantly picked up massive waves of toasted oak, dark brown sugar, and a satisfying hint of baked orchard fruits. Because it is bottled at 100 proof, the flavors carry a beautiful, heavy weight. When tested neat, the first sip was an absolute flavor bomb. The mouthfeel here is excellent. It coats the palate nicely, allowing those deep, charred oak notes to really sink in. There is a robust cinnamon spice that develops mid-palate, giving it a lively, warming sensation without coming across as overwhelmingly hot. It strikes a fantastic balance between sweet dessert notes and spicy, woody complexity. The finish is where it truly shines, lingering for a surprisingly long time with a gentle, smoky sweetness. Whether you want a strong, flavorful old-fashioned or a deeply satisfying neat pour, Cooper's Craft 100 Proof holds its own against bottles costing twice as much. It is a massive step up from our previous contenders. 4. Jack Daniel's Bonded Bourbon. I know we all have crazy college stories involving standard old number 7, but completely forget about that for a second. This bottled-in-bond expression is an entirely different beast and represents a massive leap in quality for the brand. Because it adheres to the strict Bottled-in-Bond Act, it is at least 4 years old and bottled at exactly 100 proof. all from a single distilling season. When I first cracked this bottle, the nose immediately told me I was in for a treat. It is packed with deep caramel, rich butterscotch, and that signature banana note, but beautifully refined. On the palate, it is wonderfully thick and viscous. The higher proof pushes forward beautiful layers of toasted oak, heavy vanilla extract, and a nice crackle of black pepper spice that keeps the sweetness perfectly in check. I spent a good hour dissecting the flavors in this one, and it consistently impressed me with its robust character. The finish is long, warm, and exceptionally satisfying, fading out with lingering notes of sweet tobacco and dark chocolate. It is bold enough to stand out in any classic whiskey cocktail, yet complex and smooth enough to be a daily sipper. Jack Daniel's Bonded proves that big brands can still deliver incredible craft-level quality. Three, Old Tub Unfiltered Bottled-in-Bond. If you have not heard of this one, do not feel bad, as it very often hides on the absolute bottom shelf, completely overlooked. This is a beautiful tribute to how their bourbon was made long before Prohibition. The unfiltered nature of this whiskey is immediately apparent in the glass. It has a slightly cloudy, rustic appearance, and the aroma is just ridiculously inviting. I get massive hits of roasted peanuts, warm caramel, and a distinct earthy grain forwardness. It truly smells like a classic old-school Kentucky rickhouse in the best way possible. Taking a sip, that signature Jim Beam peanut funk is there, but it is elevated and wrapped in a rich, oily texture that completely coats your mouth. There are fantastic notes of honeycomb, toasted oak, and a surprising burst of orange marmalade right at the end. Because it is 100 proof, the flavor delivery is beautifully assertive. The finish is rustic and long, leaving behind a warm, slightly spicy hug, with lingering hints of peanut brittle and vanilla bean. For the price, the depth of character you get in this bottle is almost unmatched. It is bold, unapologetic, and delivers an authentic, old-world bourbon experience that easily punches way above its humble weight class. Evan Williams 1783 Small Batch. Heaven Hill recently revamped this expression, bumping the proof up to 90 and giving it a much-needed packaging upgrade, and the results are absolutely phenomenal. This is arguably the most perfectly balanced daily sipper you can find without breaking the bank. When I poured this for testing, the nose was incredibly elegant and refined. It does not punch you in the face. Instead, it gently offers up beautiful aromas of sweet corn, light brown sugar, and a very distinct note of graham cracker crust. It smells exactly like a delicate dessert, setting you up for an incredibly pleasant tasting experience. On the palate, it is delightfully smooth and exceptionally well-rounded. The flavors of honey and vanilla are front and center, supported by a gentle, warming baking spice. There is a really nice soft oak presence that grounds the sweetness, preventing it from ever becoming cloying. I was honestly blown away by how cohesive and well-integrated everything felt. The finish is incredibly clean and crisp, leaving a lingering sweet warmth that invites you to take another sip almost immediately. It is not the most complex or aggressive bourbon on this list, but its absolute perfection lies in its approachability and flawless execution. It is the kind of bottle you can confidently pour for any whiskey drinker. Green River Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Reviving a historic distillery in Owensboro, Kentucky, the incredible team behind Green River has achieved something truly remarkable. They have managed to produce a mature, complex, and luxurious tasting bourbon at a price point that feels like robbery. The moment I brought the glass to my nose, I knew this was the winner. The aroma is impossibly rich, exploding with deep notes of dark cherry, Madagascar vanilla, and a beautiful sweet pipe tobacco. There is a delicate layer of toasted marshmallow and rich caramel that makes it smell like a bottle you would save for a very special occasion. When you finally take a sip, the texture is incredibly velvety and lush. It rolls across the tongue with heavy notes of butterscotch, ripe red fruits, and a perfectly balanced oak char. It drinks like a bourbon with easily double the age statement. There is zero harshness, just a beautifully orchestrated symphony of sweet, fruity, and woody notes. The finish is simply spectacular. It goes on forever, leaving a warm, lingering hug of spiced apple, dark chocolate, and old leather. Green River has not just created the best inexpensive bourbon on the market right now, They have created a truly exceptional whiskey that stands toe-to-toe with premium allocated bottles. If you see this on the shelf, buy it.